Okay.
And he was a hog farmer and butcher who lived in the outskirts of Angola.
Really?
Yes. And when his bizarre, locals were fully aware of the butcher's bizarre do not disturb sign and to leave him alone. But when the teenagers decided to start to teasing him, he started to behead them.
Oh. We're really fuzzy right now for some reason. Our connection doesn't look like it's that great.
I don't know why.
I think it's my fault. Oh, there we go. We cleared up.
Right. It's the legend of American horror story Roanoke's Pigman.
Huh.
This is actually a write-up about the one I've just filmed, it would seem.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find anything else on it. Yeah, no, that's it. So that's who he is.
Huh. That's crazy. Well, I'll ask you about that here on the show. Let's see here. We're just getting started, guys. We don't have anybody watching just yet. But
got no friends.
No, but the picture looks a lot better. And I found a way I can center you. So I'm going to actually adjust because you're off to the side a little bit, but I can actually center you now. Boom.
I can't even see me, I just see you. I see me again now.
There we go. All right.
Hold on. I might be able to do something a bit better with that as well.
All right.
There
you go. You're in all black today.
Yeah. Been and got a haircut this morning.
Yeah?
So I look all pretty now.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got your haircut for the show.
Just for you.
I appreciate that.
That's a pleasure.
All right. We don't have anybody watching yet, but of course most of our people are on the rebroadcast anyway. So let's get this thing rolling.
Oh, we got lots to talk about this week.
We do. All right, here we go.
Lots of gossip.
Welcome back to Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland. I'm Scott McNally. This program is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You could use our code ADVICES, and that will get you a discount. Plus, it helps to support us continuing to bring all of the programming that we do. Dave, I think we're pushing like 400 total podcasts at the network now. That's got to be like easily 600 hours of free we'll call it edutainment. How's that for a word for you? Edutainment.
Entomacation.
Yes, I'm coming to you from. I'm back in Canada. I was in Vancouver. That's where it was last week, and then came back to Detroit, and now I'm over in Ontario. I went to the grocery store yesterday morning. I found this kombucha. It's called Organic Kombucha by a company called Booch, and this is made in London, Ontario. So I'm supporting local businesses, and actually this is a really good kombucha. Have you ever drank kombucha before?
What the hell is kombucha?
It's a fermented tea made with a mushroom. So
sounds vile.
It tastes kind of like beer, actually, and there's a tiny percentage of alcohol, but like you could never get drunk off of it. It's like 0.00001 or something so low, but it's probiotic though. It has healthy effects for your gut.
I'd imagine it's very, very good for your gut.
Yeah, and it's delicious, but it's an acquired taste. Are you a guy? Do you like the taste of beer? Because I know some people are no. How about coffee? Are you a coffee guy?
I like my coffee, but I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to my coffee.
Yeah. Now, did you always like it from the time you tried it, or did it take it? Like, for most people to acquire, you liked it right away, huh?
Always liked coffee, and I always liked it black. I cannot stand the taste of it with milk in it. It makes me want to throw up.
Really?
Yeah. And I love milk.
Huh.
And so I like milky tea, but my coffee must be black. And it's just the taste I find vile with milk in.
No kidding.
It literally makes me retch. It's like, I just can't stomach it.
So we got a lot of catching up to do. It's been a little while since we've talked.
Yeah, busy. You've been jetting the world. I've been running around in woods with a meat cleaver.
Yeah. So, and that was the first thing I wanted to ask you about. I'm putting this picture up right now. And I mentioned to the audience for the post, I said, this is either got to be stage makeup or it's a really bad reaction that you had to some tren. So what am I looking at here?
It doesn't look dissimilar to a reaction I did have to a load of gear, to be fair. If anyone's followed my YouTube channel, very early days, they will remember seeing me looking very similar to that.
Ooh, I don't think it was that bad. But
it wasn't far off.
So what was going on with this, man?
For about 10 years, I've done a little bit of film work, TV work. I don't do a lot. I do have an agent. I'm actually signed with a modeling agency called Ugly Models.
Really?
I knew that was coming. Shut up.
Oh, dude.
And every now and again, just if a job comes up and it looks interesting, looks fun, or the money's silly, I'll give it a shout. So this job came up to play a horror character for, I believe it's the Discovery Travel channel.
Okay.
And the basic background is they're doing a series called Hometown Horror, where they look into urban legends about horror characters throughout America.
Okay.
So this one was about a guy called the Pigman.
Huh.
And the Pigman is from Roanoke. And it's a story of a hog farmer who was a butcher. Now, there's a bit of confusion from what I know is certain aspects of the story say he started to wear a pig's head as a mask.
Oh, yeah.
Other stories say that he just put pigs' heads on spikes outside his house to stop people from pestering him.
Okay.
He became a target for the local teenagers, as the story goes, and so eventually he started killing the teenagers and chopping their heads off and putting their heads on spikes.
Naturally.
And yeah, as you do. And
as you do.
The documentary, perfectly fine in my book. So they investigate whether these stories are true.
Okay.
And at the same time, there's a little bit of a reenactment going on the screen when they tell the story about what happened.
Huh.
So apparently now when you go into this area of the woods, cars stop working, phones stop working, electronic equipment starts to malfunction and stuff like this. And there's supposedly been sightings of him. I think the general consensus was it was a bit of an exaggeration and wasn't quite what it was. But it was fun to do. I spent 3 days running around. I mean, we were filming most nights. We didn't stop filming until 2 in the morning.
Oh, wow. Like, what time did you start?
It varied from 11 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
Depending on what the schedule was. And so there was quite a lot of messing around. But, yeah, I just ran around the woods with a meat cleaver for 3 days. Which was fun. Strangely, you could actually, having done it for 2-3 days, and I know this is going to sound really weird, but you could sort of actually see a little bit of attraction to chopping people's heads off.
Really? Like, tell me a little bit more about that. What do you mean?
Well, you sort of get it. You know when you hear people say when they get a gun in their hand, they get a bit of a power trip.
Yeah.
Similar sort of thing.
I see.
When you've been running around chopping heads off dummies, because we had a load of dummies that chopped head off and fake blood. The worst thing was they used sugar blood, so it's a fake blood based with sugar in it.
Huh.
Not what you want to be wearing smeared all over your head when you're sat next to a lake in the middle of a wood in the middle of summer at evening.
Bees?
Mosquitoes.
Oh, mosquitoes will go for it.
Lots of them.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Oh.
So that's how you got the welts on your head, is the mosquitoes.
So that was 2 hours in makeup every day that got them.
Okay. Wow.
But no, it was a good laugh. There weren't a bad team to work with, and it was a good laugh. I was supposed to be going out to Amsterdam this week to do an advert for Von Dutch, but that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that didn't happen, actually. So and that's it. that was basically the story behind it.
So what did they find out then? Did this actually happen in Roanoke?
They didn't tell me, but the general consensus I got was that no. Yes, there was a guy, there was a butcher, there was some truth in that, but he wasn't running around chopping kids' heads off and sticking them on spikes outside his house.
Okay. But you know what, though? It doesn't have to have really happened in order for it to still be an entertaining story. You know what I mean? It's like, it's in the story that makes that interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, I found it quite strange that we were filming an American-based TV show in the UK, in some woods in the middle of Norfolk, using an American police car and American vehicles.
That is weird.
Yeah. It's like, well, surely it would have made more sense just to film it in America. So, obviously, they had to hire in 2 police cars. There was a Lincoln Navigator, a couple of old pickups, and some other bits and bats.
Huh.
But, yeah, I'm going to say, it was, they were a good team to work with. They were a good laugh. It was quite entertaining.
I'm in a small town here. Like the town where I'm at right now has maybe 1-2 streetlights in it total. And there's a little downtown strip, very old buildings. There was a railroad boom, I think around 1900, and the town kind of grew at that point. And then the railroad, the main hub, moved 10 miles away. And at that time, there was no other real reason, for the town to grow. So it just, there was a lot of old stuff here, and that's the way the development stayed. And there's an opera house downtown. Even though this place is so small, they have an opera house. There's a really beautiful river with a waterfall and stuff. They're using this now for movie sets. So we were driving downtown yesterday, and we saw the CBC was filming a TV show. I think it was some sort of like a docudrama type thing of that nature, kind of not like what you're talking about. But I saw people dressed in very old clothing, like they would have been from like the 1800s and stuff, and camera crews, security guys standing around with like suits and sunglasses on, like looking all badass and stuff. It was interesting to see here in small town Ontario.
It's Canada's used a lot for filming.
I've seen that, yeah.
Huge amount of films are done in Canada, yeah. I know when I was out that way, it was regular as clockwork. You used to see film crews in Toronto or Hamilton filming something.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
It was quite common.
Like all the, we have a channel here in the States called Lifetime Television for Women, and they have all sorts of like little dramas and stories of, various stories that, romances and all sorts of things. Anyway, those things are like all filmed in Canada, like every single last one of them. And I know Vancouver is super hot for that too. It's like, I think they call Vancouver like the Hollywood of Canada, basically.
Yeah. But no, I know it's a very popular space for doing, getting on location for filming.
Yeah.
It's particularly a lot of sort of downtown city car chases, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, you're listening to Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland. I'm Scott McNally, and we've gathered a few questions here. First of all, I've gotten a bunch of questions lately about the forum. The forum is gone. It's down. And I'm debating on how we are going to collect questions in the future. I think we're just going to do, for now, though, threads. We'll post threads just like the one we posted here. So I posted this thread last night for the show, and we have a whole bunch of questions that have been asked here. We'll continue doing that ahead of time for each episode. So stay tuned to the Advices Radio Facebook page. And you guys, if you want to, you can follow along and watch these shows live while we record them. Of course, afterward, the video version will be available at YouTube, the audio available at iTunes, advicesradio.com, Stitcher, or whatever other podcast app you have. Dave, how's it been going, man? I have you had a chance to do, this is a bodybuilding podcast. So far, we've talked nothing bodybuilding. Have you had a chance to do any weightlifting? Because it sounds like you were really busy for a week there.
Doing a lot of cardio, doing a lot of bag work at the moment.
Bag work?
Bag work, as in boxing
bag work. Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of that. I haven't been doing any weights at all.
Really?
Wow. Yep. but I plan on starting the weights again at the end of the month.
Okay. What was your reasoning to take time off of weightlifting?
Just, you know what? One, I needed a sort of change of environment.
Yeah.
And I was getting frustrated because I wasn't able to train as hard as I wanted to train.
Okay.
So I thought, just focus purely on fitness and cardio and your ability to train hard through that.
Yeah.
And then go back to the weights, and you'll probably find the weights more challenging because you can push yourself harder.
I could see that.
So that was the sort of reasoning behind it. And it's going all right. I mean, work still gets in the way and stuff, but it's going all right. But it's been the bodybuilding scene over here has been quite alive these last couple of weeks with Nathan D'Asher and Luke Sandal's little spats, and then obviously the recent rodent rape accusations and everything else that's going on.
Yeah. So I mean, I heard a little bit about the stuff with Nathan D'Asher, but I haven't heard a ton. Would you care to recap what went on?
I believe that in interview, Luke was asked whether he felt he could beat Nathan, and he said he felt eventually he could.
Okay.
Nathan seemed to have taken offence at this, and he first of all said that Luke didn't do the British GP because he was scared of standing next to Nathan.
Oh wow!
And then he sort of went on a bit of a rant about how he had 5 pro wins, Nathan had none, and this, that, and the other, and it all seemed to just get blown out of proportion and get really, really silly. Obviously, it's gained a lot of traction because people love spats.
Yeah.
But it would appear that it is quite one-sided. Luke seems to be keeping his head down and not really getting involved with it and doesn't really want to have much to it. Nathan seems to be wanting to really fire it up, but it doesn't seem to be working in his favour from what I'm seeing. A lot of people have come out very negatively against Nathan in the fact that though he does have the record, and no one's denying he has an excellent pro debut record. I mean, 5 pro firsts is a very good record for anybody.
Absolutely.
And they've not been all easy wins either. He's competed against some good quality competitors. But there's been a lot of opinion on Nathan's personality.
Okay.
And that he's, well, various ranges from him being arrogant to a lot worse than that have been thrown in his way. Now, Nathan's... I remember meeting Nathan when he hadn't even won a British title. And we talked a little bit online and stuff, and we met, I think it was at Body Power actually, we bumped into each other, and he was looking for a sponsor. And even back then, he was very much, you know what, I'm not taking this shit, I'm better than this, I'm worth more than this. If they want to sponsor me, they'll have to pay me. I'm not just taking a few free tubs of protein, they can fuck off.
Yeah.
This was his general attitude, and I said to him, look, Nathan, you need to wind your neck in a little bit. You've not proven yourself yet.
Yeah.
Now, you need to at least walk the walk before you start talking the talk. But to be fair to him, he's always stuck to what he wanted to do. And to be fair, he has really sort of lived up to his own hype. I mean, he has done what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little bit of rivalry going into the Olympia. I wouldn't take it too seriously because I do think it's quite one-sided. I do think it has bothered Luke. I do think Luke's a little bit meh by it, but he's just being very PC and keeping his head down and keeping his mouth shut. But I'm sure it's definitely fueling those gritty cardio sessions at whatever time in the morning when he doesn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he's thinking, well, I need to now. Yeah. So I'm sure there's a positive for him come out of it in that way. And obviously we'll see what they do on the day on the show. But Nathan's brought his weaknesses up. That was very obvious at the British Grand Prix. And he looked good. He looked very good. Can he beat his previous placings? Well, with everything that's going on at the Olympia at the moment, the Olympia is wide open this year.
Yeah.
Particularly now, obviously, Sean Roden's not competing. Rami's not competing.
I didn't know Rami wasn't competing. What was the situation there? I haven't been following along, obviously.
You're supposed to be the bodybuilding nerd.
Yeah, but I'm doing my own bodybuilding nerd stuff with my own people, just in my own little universe that has nothing to do with the Olympia.
Your own nerdiness.
Yeah.
Your own nerdiness.
Exactly.
I don't know why Rami's not competing, but I believe Rami's not competing. There's a question mark over whether Kai Green is, but I believe Phil Heath is.
Yeah, I believe he is too.
So, I mean, it does open it up a little bit, and they're looking. Is it Choppy, whatever his name is?
Oh yeah,
guy that couldn't compete last year because he couldn't get a visa.
Yeah.
He won the Van Pro, didn't he? Last weekend, and won it impressively in the open class as well.
Yeah. It was a tough looking show too overall.
Yeah, so he's qualified. If his visa's sorted out, he's going to be there mixing it with the big boys as well. So it could be an interesting show.
Okay.
It'd be nice to see what happens, but it's definitely going to be a different ballgame this year. So what's your thoughts on this rape situation with Roden then?
Man, I don't know. I felt like, so, I heard the news come out that they weren't going to let Roden compete. And then I thought, well, what does this mean that, he's guilty before proven innocent, And in the United States, we have the whole innocent before proven guilty thing. So I thought that was kind of awkward and shoddy. Chris Aceto made a really cool post about it. And I thought, if anybody hasn't seen that, it's, this is not breaking news now. This is 5 days old or whatever. But there was some talk, I think, that generated out of that conversation. And I think that Chris made a lot of good points. If anybody hasn't seen it, go check it out. My thought, though, is that they should let him compete. But now, what's the story? He's in jail, I believe. I believe they did get him, and he's on a pretty big bail. So they don't want to let the guy go.
750,000, I think.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. So,
it's an awkward one because obviously, from a criminality point of view, yes, he is innocent to proven guilty. But if they feel he's a flight risk, then they'll set a very high bail.
Yeah, but I mean, is he really going to disappear?
I don't know.
Can he?
From a business point of view, what do you do? Do you let him compete? And then if it turns out he is guilty, what do you do then? Particularly if he wins.
I saw.
I can see. I could see more sensible approach would be his status is currently suspended pending the outcome of the investigation. I thought that the ban forever of his life sort of was a bit over the top. That seemed a bit insane because either they know something that everybody else doesn't know, or why have they banned him for life?
Yeah.
Surely it would be better just to say you're suspended pending the investigation outcome.
Yeah.
That would be a more middle ground, I would have thought, and a more easier standing to defend either way. Because they're very much, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they let him compete and he happens to win and he is convicted, there'll be a shitstorm. If he's proven innocent and they've banned him, there's going to be a shitstorm. So it is an awkward situation, I suppose, for them in that situation. But they do seem to have gone very harshly one way. Have you seen that? There's a statement floating around that's supposedly from a friend of Roden's.
No.
One of the points is that he hasn't had a chance to have his side across.
Okay.
But he's got a management team, so surely he could have released a public statement of some sort.
True.
And then it goes on, and it basically says that he's a complete dick and arsehole with women, but he's not a racist, and he's not a rapist.
Okay.
So this thing that's been floating about goes on to say that he treats women basically like shit. He shags them, he leaves them, he fucks them about. He's got no interest. They're just a toy or a bit of fun to him and nothing more. He plays with their emotions. He doesn't care, but he isn't a rapist.
Huh.
So I was like, that's a strange defense to sort of promote around. I'm an arsehole, but I'm not a rapist.
Yeah.
But, I really don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know the guy. I know nothing about the guy. Whatever happens out of this, somebody's life's going to be ruined.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Yeah, so, if he's guilty, then his life's going to be ruined. And obviously the girl that's endured it is going to have some issues probably moving forward as well.
Absolutely.
And if she's lying, he should recover, though it will have lost money and damages in that pine, and her life's ruined. So
yeah. And I mean, no matter what, even if he is innocent, it just the allegation itself is pretty damning. That's terrible on your reputation.
Well, I mean, let's say he's innocent. He's lost the chance to compete this year.
Yeah.
He's lost sponsorship revenue. He's lost, appointment revenue, function revenue, turning up and doing gigs revenue. He's lost all that.
Yeah.
Let alone all the worry and stress of having to deal with an accusation that's unfounded, and the time he's now currently spending incarcerated while he's held until bail is posted.
Yeah.
If he's not innocent, then, unfortunately, there's people do bad things in all walks of life, but it will no doubt shine a light on bodybuilding for a while. It's not going to be very beneficial. There's already a few people trying to make money or at least make themselves popular off the back of this by coming out with... there was one the other day about, was it Trenbolone behind the fact that he...
Oh, my God.
And the thing is, there is some science there to support that possibility.
Okay.
But for Jesus Christ, let's at least get to the bottom of what's gone on before you start jumping on the bandwagon about this, that, and the other.
Right. Hey, I saw somebody post something great point that he made. I always forget how to pronounce his last name, but I'm going to say Steve Inoue. That's why I'm going to go with it, Steve. And I know he listens to the show. He said he made this post with Phil Heath on it, and he said, remember something like, remember back in the good old days when we used to say that Phil Heath was a bad ambassador for the sport?
Sure, people do stupid shit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as a result of that, people get hurt, people get upset. In this case, the ramifications of what's been done either way, be it a falsification and a made-up story, or be it that he's actually done something.
Yeah.
The implications of that are going to be huge. I mean, like I say, they're going to change people's lives.
Yeah.
Point one.
Yeah, and I really hope it's not true. You know what I mean? I really do. I mean, I guess there's a good chance. Listen, I mean, he's a huge target, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know any of the facts. I wasn't there. I would hope it wasn't true, but if it was, then I hope that it destroys his life, basically,
It's you hope it's not true for several reasons, and you don't want to think that of somebody you look up to as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But also because I think as well, part of you doesn't want to think that somebody was stooped to the levels of making that up. True,
absolutely. But if they were going to,
a bit more faith in human man. But
he's a good target,
He is. I mean, is this a jilted lover situation? Is he? Is that thing that's floating around genuine? Does he treat women like shit? And this is a revenge tactic almost? Is that's what's driving this forward, or is he generally a bit heavy-handed and took things too far?
Yeah.
Only time will tell. Obviously, the police are taking it very seriously to post bail at such a high level and incarcerate him in the meantime.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate, and it doesn't shine a good light on the sport. But there's arseholes in every walk of life, and at the end of the day, one of those two parties is guilty of something.
Absolutely.
And time, the justice system just needs time to. I mean, I don't think this will particularly drag out. I would suspect that this will be dealt with rather swiftly, considering the situation of the case, because it's not like there's a great deal of evidence to gather. I mean, they've already got a lot of evidence from her in regards to DNA and such like, haven't they? So,
yeah.
I tell you what was very strange, or what was strange, maybe the wrong word, but what was interesting to watch was people's reactions.
What do you mean?
The amount of people that she's a fucking bitch, she's this, she's that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, she might be. I mean, no one's saying he's not innocent here. She may well be, but she may well not be as well. And the amount of people that automatically assume that she was just a gold-digging bitch, and that because he had won the Olympia, he wasn't capable of doing something that heinous. And it's like, everybody's capable of doing shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Just because you're good at a sport or you're good at something else doesn't make you incapable of being an arsehole.
Yeah.
But, the bottom line is we don't know. I hope to God that the whole thing can be resolved and he isn't that sort of person. But then at the same time, if that's the case, you've got to face the fact that somebody has made that story up, which is equally scary.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
Well, listen, let's get to some questions. We have a few more that were posted while we've been talking. For the radio listeners, we're going to go to a commercial break. For the video listeners, we are going to continue on. So, radio people, we will be right back. And Steve is with us. He said he's listening. The guy who made that post.
Can he phonetically spell his name, please?
You tell me. So here it's a IOANNOU. There's two vowels.
That's made up. That's an anagram of something, surely.
All right.
Anu? Yeah. Are we Ioanu? I don't know.
Okay.
Why can't it just be called Steve Smith? There we go. That makes
Steve Smith. Just from now on, Steve Smith. Yeah. All right, guys. Welcome back to Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland. I'm Scott McNally. Once again, this show is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You can use our code ADVICES. Get some hella awesome supplements, great protein powders, tons of flavors to choose from, lots of other great products available too, fat burners, as well as health supplements. Check them out and use our code once again. All right, we've got a bunch of questions that have been posted here at the thread that we have made for the show. For the live listeners listening, you guys, if you want to post up some questions, we might still have some time to get to them. Start out, Firas asks PCT protocols. He says blood work, HGH, blood work, and peptides. Thanks. When we talk about blood work, let's start with PCT protocols, Dave. Do you have a particular favorite in mind? I know I've seen people say, well, I'm only using D-ball and test. Do I need to use, or I'm only using D-ball. Do I need to use a PCT for that? And first of all, any cycle, you want to use a PCT, first of all, right? And if so?
Yeah, look, an oral only or a low injectable, there is, for a large number of people, the potential to recover naturally within a reasonable space of time. But you're still going to have a period of time where you've got low hormones, which is obviously going to mean you're going to turn catabolic. So you're going to start to lose what you gained. So it's sort of counterproductive. Okay. So even if natural recovery is possible in, say, 4 months' time, that's 4 months where you've got no hormone. So a PCT is efficient in the fact that it brings you back online faster, therefore helping you maintain the gains that you've achieved from your cycle, and long-term, hopefully, reducing the overall amount of drugs you're going to use to achieve your goal. When it comes to oral-only cycles, generally you can mirror that with an oral-only PCT.
Okay.
You only really need to start getting into the injectable side of PCT when you start getting into more complex compound cycles with injectables.
So you mean like HCG?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for most people, Clomid and Novadex, even just Novadex on its own, will be suffice for them to recover from, say, a D-ball only or Anavar only cycle. You could even look at the over-the-counter PCT products that have been developed for pro-hormone cycles. They're quite good in that case as well. But otherwise, beyond that point, once you start getting into two compound injectable cycles, 12 weeks, that sort of, and you're starting getting near the 1 gram total course, then you're going to, in my opinion, you need to be looking at a full-blown PCT.
Have you ever looked at Dr. Michael Scali's Power PCT program?
Yeah. I used to speak to Michael a lot.
Okay, so I haven't spoke to him, but I've been looking at that, and I know that he's had an updated version. But the original version, they took a bunch of guys that were using Test, Sip, and DECA. They started the PCT plan. This is interesting unlike what we see on the message boards, they started this PCT plan literally the day after your last injection, and you would take.
That's how Michael originally designed it.
Okay, 100 milligrams Clomid, 40 milligrams Novadex, and you would run that along with 2,500 HCG for the first, I believe, 15 days, and then you do another 30 days without the HCG. I believe that was it for a total of 45 days.
Roughly. You drop the Clomid down to 50 for a period of time, dropped it out completely, and then you drop the Novadex down to 20 for like the last 10 days.
Okay.
And Michael originally designed it to start post last injection for the simple reason of simplicity.
Oh, okay. You don't have to count days.
Yes, because he realized that a lot of people would struggle with adapting the PCT protocol to half-lives of the drugs they were using. Okay. And he knew that variable would make it confusing. So his original plan with the PCT was a one-size-fits-all, sort of start straight after the end and just run through. Okay. It's people that have bastardized that and added in this 2-week layoff before you start, depending on the compound you've been running. Okay. There's no real harm in that, and Michael says himself, there's no big issue with having a couple of weeks to let ester levels drop down and, let hormone levels drop down. He's even now suggested that a low dose, something like aromasin, to just knock estrogen down a touch, because obviously low estrogen will cause another signal for the production of hormone. So that he plays with it continuously. The opposing camp argue that his doses are way too high and unnecessary. Yeah. I've never found I've always found Cialis to be quite comprehensive and generally work very well. The cases where it's not worked, they are usually cases, maybe one or two exceptions, where nothing's going to work and they've had to go on TRT. I've had a few people that have recovered with triptorelin use after an unsuccessful power PCT. But I think for most, that covers all the bases. And I've seen other versions, and I know Dr. Dean did a version. I found Dean's version over complex. Nothing wrong in what he was saying in how to do it, just that it was too complex for the average person to be able to follow. And that in itself is the problem. And this is where I think Michael was quite clever. And he didn't just look at what the body required to recover, he looked what the average user was capable of achieving in the way of managing themselves. Where Dean's protocol is very complex, requires quite a lot of testing, and though there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, your average gym rat just is not going to complete that.
It makes sense to keep it simple enough that somebody can follow it. I get that.
One of the big rules about harm reduction is it doesn't matter how right you are. Yeah. It matters that you can get people to do it.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense.
So it doesn't matter if you could come up with the perfect protocol in the world that keeps everybody safe. But if it's too complex, too expensive, or too difficult to manage, people just aren't going to do it. Yeah. And it's not the clever ones generally you need to keep people safe. They generally have a reasonable grasp on what they need to do to manage their health. Yeah. It's the gym bro characters who just do what the mate tells them to do, that don't really have any major. They're the ones that are the greatest risk, because they just generally do not know what they're playing with. Right. And so it needs to be simple in order to get those sort of people to understand. I mean, it was one of the ethoses me and Richard used behind the support max we brought out, was if we made it too complex and too expensive, we could make a lot better product, but it would be too expensive for your average person to bother with. Yeah. Now, JP and Supplement Needs have come out with some very, very good products. I use some of the Supplement Needs products, and they've shown a real improvement in my kidney function from using them.
Awesome. That's great to hear, first of all.
But for the average person, the cost implications of those products is too high.
Okay. Like what are we talking here, ballpark, for one of the products that you're using?
Well, Our support is 40 quid. So we designed it to be around the cost of a bottle of Tren.
Okay.
That was the idea.
That's a good deal on Tren. Wait, quid. What's quid worth compared to like USD?
I don't know what it is at the moment. 1.3. Go on, do a calculation.
40 quid is how much US dollars?
The answer is $49.72.
That's a good bottle of Tren. $49. Just checking. Just checking on your prices there.
So some of these products are 60, 65, that sort of range.
Yeah.
Which for the average gym, Joe, when you start getting up to that end of price, they start shirking back a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that's one of the reasons why I like Cialis is because it's sort of idiot-proof.
Yeah.
It's 3 products. Do this, do that, do the other, job done. Yeah. There's no complex timing. There's no complex testing. It's just a case of do it.
All right.
There are potentially better ways, but they're that complex to implicate that they're difficult for people to follow.
I'm gonna jump to the next stuff, but I'll just mention real quick to Firas. He asked also about blood work. That's something that we have talked a lot about on the show. In fact, we've had full episodes dedicated to blood work. So if you go to advicesradio.com and you go to the drugs and stuff section, if you look through the show synopsis, you'll see a bunch of stuff where we go pretty in depth on the topic. Of course, too, all the stuff that we want to check, the basic things at least, those are the same things that you would get at a physical, or if you go to a place like Private MD Labs, you could get like the $70 bodybuilder test if he's in the US. You could get those things covered. So I just wanted to throw that out there really quick. I got a good one here, Dave. I want to save this for the end of
Okay, I'd just like to add to that. UK, we have a couple of testing companies as well. We have Youth Revisited and we have Medichecks are the main 2.
Oh, that's right.
There's another one as well Imran Khan runs, but I can't remember the name of his, so I apologise, Imran, for not remembering that. However, I know the guys behind Medichecks. It's a family-run business. It's a big business, but it is a family-run business. And I know they have the right heart for what they're doing. But I have seen a lot of very unusual results coming back from their blood tests. And when I've had them checked against a secondary blood test, the results have been a lot different.
Really? No kidding?
Yeah. I had a client come back with test levels at 2.6 or something ridiculous on Medichecks, and he said, how can that be? I feel fine.
Yeah.
We retested with his local doctor, and his test levels came back at 13. So they still weren't brilliant, but that's a huge difference in
Absolutely.
Result. I just seen a post before we came on air today about another guy who's always in the 300s with Medicheck. He went to his GP and it came back within range.
Huh.
So there would appear that there are problems with... Now, this is the fingerprint blood test.
Yeah.
So it would appear that there may be some issues with the reliability with that test. I need to speak to Helen at Medichecks and ask her or make her aware, because I'm not sure they're even aware about it, because it's the number of people that are seeing very spurious results coming back out of Medichecks is getting quite high, beyond the point where it's just a case of, it's a couple of bad bloods.
Okay.
It's starting to get to a point where there's actually a little bit of a trend here. So I'm going to speak to Helen. I'm going to fire an email across actually when we finish today and just let her know to make sure she's aware. But just so people know, if you test with Medichecks and your bloods come back really out of whack, it may be worth getting a second opinion before you have a fucking heart attack and start running around panicking thinking you're going to die. Because I've seen quite a lot of strange results coming out of their testing at the moment. I don't know why. It's a legit company. There's no reason for it. So there must be a genuine problem going on somewhere along the line.
Well, keep me posted. Keep us posted if you do hear an answer. One question I'm going to save to the end of the show here, because I think this would be a good one. So you could start thinking now, Dave, is can Dave share stories from his court cases? So if you can think of an interesting story that we can wrap the show up with later, that would be a fun one. We've got about 20 minutes left though, so let's push through a little bit more.
I can share some.
Okay, think about a good one, and I will move on to David Spencer, and he says, let's see here. He says, "Hi, being type 2 diabetic, would taking a low dose HGH 1 to 3 units every day or every other day have any benefits other than aiding sleep. I've used
Type 2.
Yeah, he says type 2 diabetic. He says, I've used MK677 before, but it is a no-go as it spikes blood sugar far too high. Would HGH do the same thing
Yes.
even at a low dose?
Yes.
Okay.
Known side effects of MK677 and HGH is insulin resistance. He has insulin resistance because he's type 2 diabetic.
Okay.
So it's only going to worsen his condition.
That's not good.
So it's definitely not something I would start messing around with.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like metformin as a product. I know it's necessary for type 2s, but I don't like its use in bodybuilding because its effect on glycogen in the liver. But what he could look at. First question is, why is he wanting to use it? If it's a sleep issue, there are other sleep products out there that won't affect his insulin levels, won't affect his blood glucose levels.
True.
But unfortunately, growth and MK particularly will only push his his PG levels up because they will just cause more insulin resistance.
Okay. I'll move on to the next one then. Let's see. Without going to unnecessary detail, what doses would I need to take of Test E, HMG, and HCG to, as best as possible, stimulate natural hormone levels in the body of testosterone, FSH, and LH? I need to do this to pass an endocrine test. Stopping my cycle isn't an option, but I need to try and bring my levels down to acceptable levels of testosterone, and at the same time try to stimulate natural LH and FSH in the body. So basically, he's trying to just create
HCG and HMG will not stimulate FSH and LH. They replicate FSH and LH. They don't stimulate it.
Okay.
So they act as FSH and LH at the Leydig cells and the serotoli cells, but they don't replace it. In order to get FSH and LH levels to increase, he's going to need Clomid and he's going to need Novadex.
Okay.
They are selective estrogen receptor modulators, as you know, and they block the ER at the pituitary and at the hypothalamus, causing an increase in output of GnRH and subsequently FSH and LH.
Let me ask you this, though. So for the purpose of testing, now I get where you're going, Dave, and so that would raise those levels on his test. Could he use HMG and HCG to still have the test levels look like he had you know what I mean?
I'm not sure, because I'm not sure if it will show as. HCG is a naturally occurring compound in the body, so I don't think HCG will show as LH.
Okay.
Even though it stimulates the Leydig cells as LH does, I don't think it shows as LH.
Okay.
And HMG, I think, is a very similar situation where it won't show as FSH. So we would need to use Clomid and Novadex to trigger the actual production of those hormones. His own test level, he's going to be looking around 125 milligram a week to get somewhere near range, but he's going to have to test it to fine tune it.
So you mean you start his dosing that he wants, and then go in and do his own lab work, see where he's at, and then adjust.
I would suspect he's probably better going at around 100 milligrams because he wants to be sort of mid-lower. He wants to be around the 17, 20s.
Okay.
He doesn't want to be up in the 25s, 29s. That's a bit on the high side.
Yeah.
And anyone looking at that's going to go, that's raise eyebrows. He would look much more less susceptible if he's down at 17s, 18s, 19s.
Yeah.
And if it's FSH and LH, the feedback loop is those estrogen receptors. So those drugs should allow the production of FSH and LH without a problem. Whether they'll push them high enough, I don't know, but they should definitely get them up and out of that 0.3 shutdown range that you see all the time.
Okay. Huh.
Question is why?
I wonder that too. I feel like that's where the story really begins, is why.
Yeah, why?
Carl Lenore, he has something interesting here. Carl Lenore, if you don't know him, he has a program here. It's probably, in my opinion, probably the longest running fitness-based podcast there is. It's called Superhuman Radio. He says, post-workout oxytocin in older lifters. I'm experimenting with highish doses due to a study I reviewed with the author 2 years ago that showed enhanced muscle recovery in older rodents using 100 IU post-workout right now. What do you think of that? I see oxytocin on the research websites, and I've never known what guys are using it for.
I've never heard of it used like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's definitely something I need to have a look at. So first thing is, thank you for bringing it to my attention. It was a quick search.
By the way, Steve pronounces his last name. He phonetically spelled it out for us. Ayano. Or Ayano. There we go.
Smith. Okay. I will have a look at that for next week.
Okay.
Because I honestly don't know how reliable or how far-reaching the studies are, but I will have a look at that next week.
Okay. I hear the Bulldogs.
Yeah, my daughter's at the back door playing silly pillocks with a fucking doggle.
So, David Spencer, he was the guy who asked about the GH. He's type 2 diabetic. He said his main reason for using it was sleep and overall health benefits of it. So besides the overall benefits of it, you mentioned that there would be some things you could use that would be better for sleep. I could imagine it would probably be cheaper, too. What would you suggest for better sleep, Dave?
GABA would be one of the first ones I'd look at.
Okay. Do you use that ever?
I have done, yeah.
What kind of dosing have you used on GABA?
I honestly can't remember, Scott.
I've used 750. I've gone up to 2 grams, but I start getting like that itchiness, a weird tingly skin feeling, and a weird taste at 2 grams. It's too much for me.
I can't honestly remember what I've gone up to on it. I'm trying to think of the other one I was using as well. No, it's gone.
Okay.
It's gone.
I've used, I like GABA along with melatonin, 10 milligrams.
Thank you.
Was that it? Melatonin?
Yeah.
All right.
I've run melatonin up to about 50.
Okay.
I found the sleep I got was more restful, but it didn't actually extend the period of sleep I was getting.
Yeah.
The best thing I found to work for me is the SportMax Neuro. And I know I'm plugging supplements here, which I shouldn't be, but
that's fine. Who makes this one?
That's made by Strom.
Strong, it's called?
Strom. STROM.
Okay.
And I'll just get you the ingredient profile up now. But then you see, my issue for sleep is that my head's too busy.
Yeah.
So the neuro keeps me nice and calm. Right, so it has 1,000 milligrams of choline, 800 milligrams of ashwagandha.
Okay.
I always want to do that Black Panther thing when someone says ashwagandha.
Why?
Wakanda, because they're all from Wakanda, aren't they?
Oh, okay.
And I just ashwagandha reminds me of Wakanda.
That's funny.
So 500 milligrams of lion's mane, 10 milligrams of boparine, and 500 milligrams of phosphatidylserine.
Oh yeah, I like that last one. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I can't pronounce fucking shit. You know I can't. Phosphatidylserine. Phosphatidylserine. Yeah, something like that.
Is it phosphatidylserine by chance?
That's the one.
All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I'll tell you now. I know this is not one. It gets a bad rep, and that's phenibut. You could get some dependency on phenibut. Once in a while, if I use it when I really, really need it, once in a while, like that's the way that I would prefer to take it. It works really good, and it knocks me right out. I sleep. I wake up feeling so rested. Like I'll wake up in the morning feeling like $1,000,000. But if you take it consistently, you'll develop a dependency to it. So I don't use it on a regular basis. So I'll throw that out there. That would not be something I would use all the time if I were him.
One of the things with a lot of these things is to firstly ascertain, why are you not sleeping well?
Yeah.
Is there an underlying factor to this that you can actually control? We're far too quick to go, I'll just take this, take that, take the other, and we all do it, and that's fine. That's part of the treatment of the problem. But the other thing is to look at what's causing the reason for you not sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, my big problem is that I go to bed and then my brain starts going, blah, 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 and it goes all over the place.
Yeah.
So though the neuro helps me by settling all that, I also spend time trying to calm my thoughts down. I go to bed, I put a notebook at the side of the bed, I write down everything I'm thinking about, and then I can just close the book on it. So I'm not then going through in my head, I need to remember to do this tomorrow, I need to remember to do that tomorrow, I've got this to do, I've got that to do.
That's huge.
It's all written down.
That's huge.
So as soon as I write it down, I can shut my brain off for that thing because I've done it, I've forgotten about it. Because I've got a record now, I don't have to remember it. So things like that can be really helpful, you know, looking at why are you not sleeping and then trying to put things in place that stop you from not sleeping.
Yeah. We've got two more here. We might not have, if we don't have time, Dave, I want to get a courthouse story for the next episode. This is an interesting one. I wanted to know if you knew anything about this. I have not heard anything about it. He says, I have a Spanish test product that contains Test E, 100 milligrams, Test Sip, 100 milligrams, Prop, 100 milligrams, and Testosterone Nitrate, 100 milligrams. My question is about the testosterone nitrate. I've never heard of it, and in all my research I've done, I found nil. Can you share any info on testosterone nitrate? Dave, I never heard of it. I looked it up. I saw nothing.
No. Never heard of it in my life.
Yeah. I asked him if, I said, I told him I'm trying to research it. I don't see anything, what is the brand and do you know where it came from? Like a Mexican pharmacy or what? But I didn't hear back from him. So I'm really not sure about this one.
The only time you normally see stuff that would be labeled testosterone nitrate is in test boosters.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
So that's where you would normally see something that would be labeled as a testosterone nitrate, would be something that was a test booster.
Okay.
Seems very strange that a test booster would be mixed in with an artificial test, but that's the only time I've seen test nitrate mentioned. Okay.
Let's see. We had another question here in another thread. It says, a friend of mine that's a physician assistant recently suggested that it's bad for your heart to take Cialis and pre-workout drinks. I know a lot of people do this, and I do it as well sometimes. Most of the time I take 15 milligrams Cialis every other day with a stim-free pre-workout. What do you think? Does the added NO boosters with Cialis cause issues?
So they're saying it's heart damaging to your heart to take the pre-workout and Cialis together, or both components have a negative impact on the heart?
That's the thing. I'm not totally sure whether he means because in combo.
Cialis has been shown to actually help the heart.
Really? Okay.
Now, stimulant-based test boosters, they are very traumatic on the heart. Any stimulant's gonna give the heart some grief. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
So a stimulant base, that's going to cause some issues. The two together, not so sure. I'm not so sure if Cialis would amplify the negative effects of a stimulant or not.
Okay.
That's another one for next week.
David Spencer mentioned, he said, he says he has GABA, L-theanine, 5-HTP, and ZMA. So he's bulked up on his sleep stuff. Man, I think you're right, Dave. You know, sleep, there's so much of that is psychological, you know? I mean, there's got to be something to that. But you know what, too? I wonder about blood sugar. I wonder if there's something specific with his blood sugar, because I know that...
if he's going to bed with high BGs, that could potentially affect his sleep as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He just wants to start having a wank before he goes to bed. He'll be fine.
We can't help you there, buddy. But
Scott's available at very reasonable rates.
Oh God, we're an hour in here, Dave. I don't know if we have time for a story. So I think what we'll do, let's think about a good story. Let's reconvene.
I've got a short one. If you
got
want
a short one, okay. Well, let's hear a short one, because I did want to try to work this in. So I'm gonna sit back and relax. Okay. Hear a tale from Dave Crosland. I
can't discuss anything that's current, but
sure.
This is case done, closed, finished, so I can discuss this.
Okay.
Wildcat Labs was bust some time ago, and the guy was caught with an extremely large amount of raw powder and an extremely large amount of acid. And one of the things they found in his house was a large bundle of cash.
Sure.
I'm guessing this because I can't remember exactly. I think it was around £40,000.
Not much, just pocket change.
Yeah, just loose change. So obviously he had to give some reasoning why he had this bundle of cash in the house. Now the first thing was his defence for being caught with a lab that had a retail value probably about £4 million worth of gear in it.
Damn. I mean, how much gear is that, first of all? Is that like...
Well, there was 15.5 kilos of raw powder.
Okay. That's a lot of raw powder.
Orals were in the hundreds of thousands.
Wow.
Now, they valued the job at 1.5 million using wholesale and manufacturer prices.
Wow.
So... manufacturer to retail is about 3 times, so it's not a stretch to say there was £4 million street value there.
Good
Obviously,
Lord.
he would never have achieved that revenue because he wasn't selling direct to the end user.
Right.
But that's the potential that was there. Anyway, so his first defence was, look, quite literally, it wasn't him. Well, your fingerprints are there. Yeah, I've been in there. But it wasn't me.
Is this at his house?
No, this was in a unit. This was like a storage unit that he had rented. And the reason they discovered him because he forgot to pay the rent. That's why they discovered him. So the landlord cut the locks off.
He's got $4 million pounds worth of gear, and he forgets to pay the rent.
I know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, cut a very long story short. He had to come up with a defense for this cash. So the story he came up with was that his grandmother had an affair with a Russian Tsar. And the Russian Tsar gifted his grandmother a Fabergé egg. And he sold the Fabergé egg.
This is real specific.
Cash.
That's specific, You know what I mean?
He sold the Fabergé egg for cash.
Wow.
And this is the cash that they found in his house.
Wow. Huh.
It's just like he definitely prescribed to the crazier the story, the more believable it's going to be.
Yeah, with the details. It was a gold Fabergé egg with blue tints. Yeah.
Oh, it was just fucking ridiculous.
Wow.
He got, I think it was 7 or 9 years for that.
That's a decent amount of time.
And he got 1.5 million proceeds of crime repayment order.
What does that mean?
That means he had to pay the government £1.5 million.
Holy crap. What do you do with that? You just you're going to make payments for the rest of your life, or you go back into selling gear?
They tend to strip you of assets. So he had properties overseas, he had properties over here.
I see.
So they seized all his asset.
I was going to say you'd have to start selling gear again just to pay that off.
And generally, you know what? That's actually funny you say that, because generally what you see with most labs is when they get bust, because they know they're going to go on holiday for a while.
Yeah.
They just start back up again and try and make as much money as they can before they go down.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's why a lot of labs that get bust suddenly pop back up again, because they'll carry on producing as long as they can, because they're trying to get some money behind them so that when they go away, they've got money for their families or whatever.
Jeez, that's crazy, man.
But I've got some more that I can talk about.
All right, yeah, I wanna hear some more of that stuff. We'll save that for the next time. Dave, thanks as always for your time, man. I know you're taking this time out of Hollywood to hang out with us little people in bodybuilding. We appreciate it.
It's okay. This once you can do it. I'll send you my autograph later.
If people want to reach out to you for your services, how's the best way to get a hold of you?
Facebook is an easy way. Just message me on Facebook, Dave Crosland, or email me at dave@crosslands.org.uk, and Crosslands is Croslands. Now, before we go, I would just like to say my condolences to Wayne Nemick and his family.
Excuse me, you broke up a little bit. Could you start that again?
Yes, I'd just like to pass my condolences on to Wayne Nemick's family. Wayne passed away last week. Wayne was quite a popular amateur bodybuilder in the UK. He hadn't competed. I don't think he'd competed for a couple of years, to be honest.
Okay.
He used to be regular on the UK BFF circuit. Nice guy. Unfortunately, he passed away last week.
That's too bad, man. How old was he?
I'd say 30s.
Oh, geez, way too young then.
Yeah. I don't think he'd hit his 40s yet.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know the causes of it or anything like that, but I just know he passed. So I just wanted to say, condolences.
All right, and guys, be safe out there. Bodybuilding, we can have a lot of fun with this sport. It's done a lot for me. I know that it's done a lot for Dave Crosland here, but it's something that we got to treat with a lot of respect. So, not making any thoughts on how this gentleman passed away, but we have seen a lot of untimely deaths, and in some cases, it has been bodybuilding related. So I'm glad that we can have you here, Dave, for some risk management and some health stuff. So for another episode of Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland, I'm Scott McNally for the Advices Radio Network. Check out TrueNutrition.com and use our code ADVICES. Guys, we will see you soon. Thanks, Dave.
Pleasure.